Hey everybody! Today I wanted to talk about another couple of experiences I've had in London recently, and that is being in a TV audience, because that's something I've never done before and I was very curious to try it. So I signed up for a few websites to get kind of updates on how you get into audiences, one of which is called Standing Room Only, or SRO Audiences. And they basically offer tickets to various shows, the two of which I applied for were Mock the Week on the BBC and The Last Leg on Channel 4, both of which are filmed at ITV Studios, ironically. So you basically put in an application for a few dates and you see if you get any back. And within very quick succession, I got tickets for Mock the Week and The Last Leg, kind of within a few days of each other. So I was really looking forward to that, and as suggested on their website, I emailed them to say, I'm visually impaired, I'm going to need a bit of help. And they said, yeah, that's fine. Let us know when you turn up. So the first thing I needed to do was obviously find the ITV studios, and they're near Waterloo, just off the South Bank down alley. So Waterloo Station is a bit of a maze. What I found was, although I was able to find ITV studios from Waterloo Station, the easiest way I actually found to get there on the nights in question were coming via Blackfriars. I found it easier, just a straighter walk, to come over the bridge from Blackfriars Station, turn right down the South Bank, follow it round and then nip down the alley, rather than trying to figure out subways or winding streets around Waterloo. I'm happier to walk a little bit further if it's kind of a straighter, easier route. So that's the way I did it. And then when I come out of the studios afterwards, I just follow the audience back to Waterloo Station because everyone's going the same way then. It's easier than in the dark to be able to follow everyone else. The key thing with these tickets, though, is to get there early because they overbook. They obviously want a full audience on the night, and there are always going to be some people who don't turn up. So they always issue more tickets than they have seats. So you have to get there early. So for Mock the Week, I turned up an hour early, and already there was a fair queue there. And for The Last Leg, I turned up an hour and a half early because I knew that was a very popular show. And indeed, the queue was already snaking down the side of the building. So I did get in both cases. If you don't get into one of these shows, then they do give you a priority ticket for another show, whether it's another episode of the show you've gone to see or another show entirely. Depends, I expect. But luckily, I got in on both of these occasions. And when I got to the front of the queue and they were checking us all in, I mentioned, that I had access requirements, and they indeed had it noted down on their sheet. They're really, really nice. In both cases, they bumped me to the front of the queue. So I got let into the building first, was allowed to use the toilet first if I needed to, and then got shown into the studio, where in both cases I got given a front row seat, which was very, very nice. So I was directly facing the stage on Mock the Week. In fact, I was directly facing the people on the left-hand side of the stage for Mock the Week, the kind of angle I was at. I was able to see the whole stage. And then for The Last Leg, there's a monitor that sits in the middle of the stage, and I was effectively directly facing that. So that was really, really good. Got a nice view. Occasionally a camera might get in the way slightly, but I didn't actually have my view obscured in any major way. For Mock the Week, the only obstruction I had of sorts was when they did their scenes we'd like to see, where they, just get given a subject and just have to riff off it in the very last round. The camera blocks the view then, but even so, everything that happens at that point is verbal anyway, so as long as you can hear it, it doesn't matter. So obviously before each recording of a show, you get a warm-up first. So for Mock the Week, we had the floor manager and the executive producer of the show talk to us a little bit. Then we had a warm-up comedian come out, and get us all warmed up, get us all laughing. And then Dara O'Brien came out and greeted us and again did a couple of jokes with us and just got us all relaxed into the show. So that got us all set up. And then for The Last Leg, we had a warm-up guy come out, and he's very, very good, and he played a game of Human Tinder with the audience, which I did fairly well at. I was nearly among the last few. It was my job that let me down. It was very, very good fun, very, very funny, and certainly got us all in the mood. And then the shows begin proper. So for Mock the Week, what you get on the telly is basically what you see in the studio, only in the studio it's much longer. So you get the title music kick in, and you applaud when they start, and then you just go straight into the show. And the rounds you see on the TV are very, very tight edits of what you see on the night, because obviously there's a lot of material there they don't use. I do kind of wonder what it would have been like in the Frankie Boyle days. I suspect there was a lot of material that would have been way too explicit for the TV. There's nothing majorly explicit on my particular night of Mock the Week, but it was a nice selection of guests. They had Angela Barnes and Ramesh Ranganathan and Nish Kumar and Ed Byrne. He's always good with Dara O'Brien. So that was good. And there are one or two rounds that you didn't actually see on the final broadcast as well. Hugh Dennis did his newsreel round, where he does a voiceover of a clip from the news. That hardly ever gets broadcast except for an end of series compilation where they do deleted scenes. And scenes we'd like to see, there's 3 topics covered in that, rather than the 2 you see on the TV. I suppose they picked the 2 that work best on the night. And in fact, the topic that wasn't used was then used in next week's show, I think, or the show after that. It was certainly reused, so it didn't get put to waste. It was just different people answering it on that occasion. So yeah, it was basically watching an extended version of Mock the Week. Basically just got to see the full uncut show, and it was very, very good. Very, very slick. You know, you can tell they've been doing it a long time because they just go through it very quickly, very smoothly, very easily. All the camera positions are all worked out. Some things are repeated once or twice just to get different camera angles. Like for scenes you'd like to see, there's a couple of camera angles they do, so they kind of do that round twice, only the second copy is shorter. And then there's a couple of little fluffed lines and things they clear up at the end, and they do trailers for the show as well that go out on BBC Two, you know, before it's broadcast. But none of the stuff at the end took very long. And then the last leg, I mean, obviously that doesn't get edited out because it's live. You know, what you see on the TV is what we see. So yeah, whatever gets in the studio goes straight out on air. And if you've seen the show, you'll know that because of the very strong language that's come out occasionally. The one little secret that I hadn't known, but you know, I suppose it does make a lot of sense in hindsight, is that the walk down the ramp they do at the beginning is pre-recorded. They pre-record it before they go live. The reason being that they have to do different versions of that depending on where it's broadcast. There's one version for the British market, then they have to redo the ramp walk for the Australian edition, because in Australia, the show gets broadcast on a Wednesday, so Adam has to say, it's Wednesday, welcome to the last leg. And also, they haven't got the rights to the theme music in Australia, so they come down without any music, which is quite weird. So that's one little secret of the show I didn't know. Then in the advert breaks, the warm-up guy comes out, does a bit more material just to keep us in the mood, you know, so we don't get bored. And Adam Hills did come out before the show as well to say hello to us, of course, and introduce Josh and Alex. So yeah, before both shows, the host came out as well as the warm-up guy. And yeah, it was just a really nice atmosphere in there. Everyone enjoyed themselves. And on the last leg broadcast, you could actually see me twice in the audience when they do the audience shots. You couldn't see me on What the Week because it's too dark in the studio, but on the last leg you can see me twice. So they were really good experiences. The staff were really friendly and helpful. You know, they couldn't have been better. They showed me to my seat, made sure I was comfortable, and made sure I got out of the studio all right. And you know, the shows were just great to watch. The hosts are great, and you know, the shows are really slickly produced. They're really well produced, really well made. And I'll definitely be applying for more in the future for those series and possibly others. I've already applied for a couple of radio shows on the BBC that I enjoy, so we'll see if they come out as well. Again, it's random allocation, so who knows. But it'll be nice if to go and see those, and I'll see what other shows come up. But I just thought I'd tell you a bit about them. If you are thinking of applying for TV audience tickets and you're visually impaired or otherwise disabled, then don't be afraid to. SRO audiences were very, very good with me. I don't yet know what other companies are like, but I would hope they're similar in terms of their accessibility needs and helping people. But certainly the experiences I had, the first 2 experiences I had, have been very positive, and based on that I definitely recommend it to other people because it's good fun. It's good to see a show live and get that behind the scenes glimpse. So I hope you found that interesting. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you for another video soon. Bye.